Good evening. My name is Simon Okelo. I'm at Northwest African American Museum with my sister LaNesha,
Yes.
who is the executive director of Northwest African American Museum. It's really a pleasure to sit down with you and have a conversation in this podcast called Diaspora Connect, where we aim to demystify the lives of African people in the diaspora. And there's no better way to tell our story here in the diaspora than to do it from within this museum that shares the story of African American people in the Pacific Northwest. Could you just give us a little background about NAAM? The Northwest African American Museum.
Well, Simon, let me just say that we are so happy to have you and One Vibe Africa here.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for bringing the energy and the love and the presence that you bring with you into this space. We're happy to have you all.
Oh, thank
and
you so much.
excited about the event tonight. Congratulations to you all.
Oh, thank you so much. By the way, we are here for One Vibe Africa's third annual fundraising dinner. And, it's an honor to do it in this building that is very historic. We did the first one here, the second one at the Sculpture Park, and we will do the rest here because this is the home for this event.
And we are happy to hear that. This is home.
Thank you.
For you.
Thank you.
And so the Northwest African American Museum really is a gem in the cultural landscape of Seattle and of the Pacific Northwest. We're the only African American museum in this region doing what we do. We are an institution that centers and celebrates the Black arts, educational empowerment, and justice and equity. This museum was established as a museum in 2008, but it was years of struggle and planning and contestation to get to this point of being a museum. We are housed in the historic Coleman School building, which was established in 1909 here in the Central District of Seattle, which was at one point a predominantly African American community. This museum has been operating for 11 years now, and we have some of the most dynamic and vibrant programs and exhibitions and educational experiences. We are also an institution that facilitates rental events, so we are a space where the community sees as their own, a place where culture, African American culture is centered, and we tell stories that no one else is telling. Stories of the African and African American experience here in the Pacific Northwest.
Thank you very much. Now, I'm always inspired by women who are leaders because I was raised by a mother who always encouraged me to be courageous and I'm really impressed that you're the executive director of this museum. Just give us a little background about yourself and how you got to this spot where you are.
Oh, thank you so much for that question. Where do I begin? Well, I can say that I've been here for a year and a half here at NAAM, here in Seattle. I'm originally from Michigan, born and raised in Michigan, and have been in museum work for about 18 years now. I've been in the museum field. Most recently, I was with the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History in Detroit, Michigan, and had the opportunity to learn so much under prominent Black museum leaders of the field. And so this coming to serve at NAAM has really been just a wonderful opportunity and privilege to help move this museum to the next level. We're moving toward national accreditation as a museum.
What does that mean, by the way?
Yeah, so that means that this museum will then be operating according to national best practices, that we will have a consistent standard of excellence in all that we do operationally, and that we have the credibility to be within an elite circle of museums. Only 3% of museums are nationally accredited.
Wow,
97% of museums are not even accredited.
Wow.
And so it just is a badge of a badge of a statement saying that you can trust this museum to provide excellent service across the board, every visit, every time. And the Northwest African American Museum is becoming that museum of excellence.
Thank you so much. Now, we have a lot of African people in this region. They are not fond of coming to places like museums. Myself, I've only brought my daughters here because I had an event that I was organizing here. What is it that, the African people in this region and back home that are, traveling around and passing through Seattle can do, or how accessible is it for people like that?
Fully accessible. We are an inclusive museum. We tell the story of both the African as well as the African American. Those stories through separate lenses as well as through merged lenses. And so our African brothers and sisters will find themselves in this space. They will find their stories. They will find their experiences in this space. This museum is here telling both stories of the African as well as the African American experience. And so we're sitting right next to an exhibit piece that centered on Ethiopian and African culture. And so we have been able to put both experiences side by side in this museum because that's who we are. We are people that have overcome so much together, and that's the story that we tell here.
So what's exciting now within the museum? What are some of the exhibits going on that people can come and see?
There is always something for everybody here at the museum. We have amazing programming from King Day in January all the way through December with Black Santa and with Kwanzaa, year-round, amazing programming. Just this upcoming Tuesday, we're having a well-read Black Girl book talk to look at Black women authors, both African and African American Black women authors, bringing their power through the pen. We have just opened up an amazing new exhibition called Warren Pope Bloodlines, Timelines, Red Lines. It's about the history and the current reality of redlining, gentrification, and displacement. And it's told through the lens of art. We also just opened another exhibit on Edwin Pratt, who was Seattle's civil rights leader who was assassinated 50 years ago right here in this area. We're telling his story again through art as well. So we are a museum that just has just some not to be missed exhibitions. We have programming throughout the month of June and throughout the year. June is Juneteenth. We'll be doing a ton of programming during that week of Juneteenth. June is also Black Music Month, so we will have a variety of musical programs and musical experiences this month as well.
Fantastic. So, fundraising is always a challenge for any nonprofit, and NAAM is a nonprofit. Imagine you had $1 billion. What would you do to this space?
Woo! I would bring the flyest, most amazing, immersive technology in this space. We would totally redo our exhibitions to bring our stories to life through technology. We would be able to help people to step back into the past, or to step into art through technology. Being able to interact in new ways with Black history, art, and culture technologically. So I would use probably, if it's $1 billion, I would use about half to really just deck this space out with some amazing technology experiences. We want to bring a cafe into our space. We want to be able to bring African cuisine and soul cuisine into our space so that people can truly have the full African and African American experience here, even through cuisine and delectable eating. So we have just a wonderful vision for youth programming and youth engagement as well. We are so excited about what's ahead for One Vibe Africa, and we invite you to subscribe, to follow, to tune in continually, because you will be empowered and inspired by what One Vibe Africa is doing on a daily basis. And so we're partners with you in all the success that's happening with you all. And we just invite folks to follow the Northwest African American Museum as well. Just see what we're up to. Tune into us, plug into us as well, because we're here for you.
Thank you again for watching Diaspora Connect. Today I was having a conversation with my sister LaNesha, who is the Executive Director of Northwest African American Museum. Tune in to One Vibe TV on YouTube. We are really grateful for the time you took to watch this show today. Peace.